So I want to use this last kind of concluding piece to bring in a lot of the ideas of this course, but also think about the whole arena of human resource management. And the way I want you to think about this is a way to remember HR and this course around the 5 B's. And essentially, HR practices can be thought of around this idea of 5 B's. And what do I mean by that? So when you think of all the different HR practices out there and how they can add more competitive advantage to a firm, they can practice your HR techniques around areas that begin with the letter B. So let me give you the first one to start thinking about, the initial one as well as the 4 others. The first one is B, is you can buy talent. So if you're looking at an organization to increase its capabilities, and in fact we're in this today, in current time, people are scrambling to hire, to find the right skills, to in fact buy the right talent in the marketplace to drive to their new strategic direction. As a consequence, for the right kinds of positions, for the right kinds of jobs, for the right kinds of capabilities, salaries have gone up. We now are in a war for talent. So buying talent is about how you recruit, how you use agencies, how you use employment systems, automated selection systems to in fact identify the right talent and to lock them into your organization. This is one way to go, one of the 5 B's, that can help develop an organization's workforce. It's expensive. It takes time. It takes money. And as we know, buying talent, you got to get them in the door, you've got to orient them, and you've got to get them on their way. Getting them on their way is all about the training. It's everything we've talked about in the course in terms of getting the right individuals to join the organization, but to develop them throughout the whole process of their career. The other way that in which you can build your workforce, and I just said it, is in fact building talent. And this is all about this course. It's about how you develop, how you train, how you transform what you currently have to the workforce and the capability of the future. It's the way in which you train and develop talent. It's the way in which you assess. It's action learning. It's skills-based programs. It's performance management. It's around giving the right developmental experiences for people. It's having the right coaching. It's having the right counseling. I want to submit to you that the first 2 B's I just mentioned, buying talent, building talent, are more the strategic influencers of a corporation. These are more near-term, but they're also more long-term. So looking at your strategy in terms of how you can further promote your workforce, you can buy the talent, you can build the talent, and these are more about the future direction of the firm. Building is clearly focused on what we've been talking about this whole course, training and development. Buying is about getting them in the door, but keeping them, promoting them, developing them is about training as well. The other 3 B's are less important about training, but they're kind of also less strategic. So when you think about this course, think about buying talent, but also thinking about the ability to build. That's through the training mechanism. The 3rd B that I want to propose to you is actually borrowing talent. And here companies are doing this more on a short-term basis to really, in fact, through mergers, acquisitions, get the right talent that they need immediately. Ford, for example, has just acquired a transportation kind of company to really help promote future intelligent kind of vehicle operations. Now, they got that firm not because of pure economic reasons, because of the engineering talent that's in that organization They're going to kind of borrow through their acquisition and build their capabilities that Ford currently has in borrowing that talent for the future as they transform from being a car maker to being a transportation firm. So they don't have the right capabilities totally right now. So through this acquisition, they're going to borrow that talent. Again, a more near-term kind of approach. The fourth B is another way in which you can look at managing talent, and that's not as pleasant, perhaps, but that's bouncing talent. And I bring this to the forefront because while corporations may build, buy talent, borrow through mergers and acquisitions, you also have to look at, do you have the right people for the future for the organization? And you may need to look at letting people go, but having the right kind of approach in this process, certainly treating them with humane kind of characteristics, being fair to them, but also looking at helping them build to a new career and helping them transition out of the organization. So firms are doing all these things simultaneously. They're buying the talent, they're building it on a more long-term basis, they're borrowing it from other firms, and where need to, they're exiting people out. Now, this bounce sounds harsh, but if it's done correctly, it could be the best thing for the individual as well as the firm. And the key for organizations is, in fact, exiting the right people out of the firm for the right reasons. If they don't have the capabilities for the future, then helping them transition to kind of a new organization is the best thing that you can do. The final B that I want you to think about, and again, it's more near term, it's more aligned with borrow, bouncing, and it's the final B of what organizations can do, and that's binding talent. Again, a more near-term kind of prospect. You want to hold on to people in the organizations that are really key. You want to bind them usually on a finite period basis, finite amount of time, to stay in the organization for a critical period of time. We do this through golden handshakes. You may have heard the term. Bonuses and retention bonuses that if you stay for a period of time, you're going to get another $75,000 if you stay an extra year, or $100,000. We also do this a little bit in our retirement programs, that you're not vested in certain programs unless you're with a company 3 to 5 years. This is a way to hold on to your investment and also hold on to it because more often than not, these individuals have key capabilities. So again, just to summarize and look at this whole kind of summary of the course, these things tend to be more near-term, important tools, levers that you could use to build and to really address your workforce. These two things up here tend to be more long-term. And quite frankly, when I look at the 5 B's overall, it's really these two, and the research is very clear, that have the greatest impact to organization success. Buying the right talent and building the talent. And let me further emphasize that firms that do this final building piece really well, our data shows, win better in the marketplace by 15 to 20% earnings per share growth, market share growth, and employee retention. So out of all the 5 B's, building and building through this course, training and development, have the most strategic impact to the organization. And I ask you to remember the 5 B's. I ask you to focus on building and thinking about what we've covered over the last 14 sessions that I think really can make a difference in organization life. Thank you very much.